Hey everybody, it's Stephen GetMoneyMyrick here, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually like giddy with excitement because the Celestial Island update is out, and I have been holding on and avoiding doing it because I want to share it all with you and show you off how to do it. So I was sitting at work like, damn it, I just want to make my number go bigger and my number go higher, get the power printing machine going, but I gotta wait, I gotta save it all for you guys. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the new Celestial Island updates. I'm going to be discussing everything I can about tips that you need to pay attention for, different buildings you need to be upgrading, talking about different strategies within Celestial Island, just so we're all on the same page and so you're not missing anything. This video is not going to talk about Seal Land at all. I know there's lots of other changes going on within the game, lots of hidden things that you may not be aware of that are kind of interesting too, but this video is about Celestial Island. If you enjoy it, please make sure you're subscribed. But let's go ahead and start talking about what you need to be doing as part of the new Celestial Island update. So when I first signed in, I was a little overwhelmed by all the different options on the new interface, and I was like, this is kind of confusing. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. And it felt a little overwhelming. It's like frustrating, but honestly, this update is super, super simple. I don't want anybody feeling frustrated about it because I'm going to walk you through the steps you need to do. And this is really you do it one time kind of thing, and then you're not going to really have to come back in here too much to manage it. Also, it does a really good job of showing like growth within the game and give you things to work towards, but it's also pretty idle. So I really like updates like this, and I'm actually very excited about this. A good friend of mine and a guildmate, Broken Name, he actually went through and he made a list for all of us discussing things that you want to make sure that you're doing as part of this update. So that list is here right now, so you're more than welcome to pause the video, get it, check this list, make sure you did all these steps. But we're going to go through and do each of these one by one real quick to get my base up and show you how it all works. I will say as well, if you want to do all these steps, it's probably going to take you about 20 to 25,000 void stones. You can see here I actually only have 17,000. I started saving up a little bit knowing what this update was coming, but I'll be running out of void stones, so I might not be able to build and do everything right now, but you're going to want to prioritize doing most of these first and getting your prosperity up, which is this level here. And you can see that as your prosperity gets higher, your resource generation gets higher to a point that I believe it probably maxes at 25, where it gives you plus 50% of every resource. And each level will go through and do one. So we're going 30 to 40 here. Next one will go 30 to 40 for magic dust, and 30 to 40 for stone void output. So let's go ahead and we're going to start by, instead of upgrading our forge right away, we're actually going to start by constructing some buildings. So we want to make sure we get this building placed, and obviously, you know, I don't have the best layout right now. It's not the most prettiest looking thing, but you're just going to go through and you're going to put each building in, and it's going to take a bit. It's going to take a second, and it's going to take some gems. More specifically, I think it's a couple thousand gems. So we're going to go ahead and put these down for now in the most beautiful way ever. I do hate, by the way, I tried to click this layout mode, it doesn't go back. You have to hit this back arrow. That was driving me kind of nuts. We're going to go ahead and we're going to upgrade these all the way up to level 60. So you can see we're at our void stone count, and you can kind of see how it drops down as we go higher, right? So we drop down from 17,000 down to probably 14,000. So we'll go down to 11,000 here as we make all these upgrades. And then we're going to want to go in and make our furnace. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the furnace here, because I personally don't think there's any reason right now, at least, to ever upgrade it. And by the way, the furnace upgrade is here in the second tab. It's a little hidden. But I don't think there's really a reason to go up to level 10, and I can't even get up to level 9, because at level 10 what you do is you unlock more of these hero stone spots, and you really shouldn't be spending your resources on these. You really should be spending them on other resources. So it's going to cost you a good amount of void stones. I think it's 4,500 void stones to get that, which is resources you could be using towards, you know, forging more gear and stuff. And it does give you a prosperity bonus here, which is this level up here in the top right corner. You can see we went from 17 to 21, but the prosperity bonus you get is only 25 more prosperity when you level it up. Compare that to if you want to just build one of these decorative buildings here. These are 50 void stones instead of 4,500 void stones, and they give you 30 prosperity. So they give you more prosperity just by building any of these decorative ones here. And this is something that I think is going to be really, really fun. I've seen some pretty cool designs and layouts of people as they've gone through and just made their, you know, Farmville, made their Clash of Clan bases, because this interface does feel very Clash of Clansy. But yeah, we went ahead and we got those upgraded. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go into our justice statues, and in your mail, if you didn't check already, you should be getting from DH Games, you should be getting a compensation of all the resources back that you had. So you should have enough to level up these statues. And I'm going to do what I did before, which is max out speed on all of them. So you kind of have two options. One is you can just do all your speed and then all of your attack and not even deal with HP. But what probably makes more sense right now for most players is to kind of equally spread out the attack and the HP, because it will be cheaper and you'll get your levels up quicker for both of these statues, which will give you more prosperity. And again, when you get more prosperity, you'll be getting more of those resources and more of that resource generation. So that's kind of arguable. I mean, HP is becoming more important now than it used to be with sustained lineups and some of the PvE content. So it probably makes more sense even now to spread it out. But you can see kind of every 3 we do, we're getting a level up here. You see, and then I believe it becomes 4 later on. Which is giving us more and more prosperity. So spreading it out between both of them could make more sense for you depending on what you're doing. And that's what I'm going to do for now. And I think that does make the most sense for most players. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go into each of your 4 galleries that you built. And so these galleries are going to give you points based on resonance gear, based on avatar frames, based on pay-to-win artifacts, and based on skins that you have. And the important thing that you need to do is, for right now at least, is go up here and click these pink buttons, because you can see it's going to increase your HP and your attack for your heroes. And so you can see as we level up here all the different buffs that we're getting just for having resonance gear. And we can do the same here on the artifact gallery one, and you only get credit here if it's a splendid artifact. And with the resonance gear, it's only if it's resonance gear. And with the skins, it's only legendary skins. So only legendary skins are going to give you credit for everything. But you can see all this fixed HP, fixed attack that we're getting as we level up and get different things here. You can see as well, there are these skin bonds where if you own both of the skins, you're going to get extra resources. So that's something that if you're close, it may be worth getting it. But again, you're going to need a legendary skin of that stuff. But it will give you more points, which will give you more fixed HP and more fixed attack. So again, it's something to work towards, which I think is honestly pretty great. For the avatar gallery, one thing for you to be aware of is you can go in the guild store and you can buy some of these avatars. I believe there's 18 avatars you can purchase. You may own some of them already, like I already owned 11 of them, but I did go through and buy these other 7. And actually, if you try to click on one that you already own, it will tell you that you already own it and you can't buy it. So don't worry about trying to match up which one you're missing. That was something I was struggling with. I was trying to figure out which ones do I need to buy, because I knew I had some of them already. But you don't need to do that. You can just go in there and use your tokens on getting those. And I do believe that is worth doing. Some people are asking me, is it worth the profit orbs? Basically, to buy all 18 of them, assuming you have none of them, it will cost you about 90 profit orbs, or about 1 loop of profit orbs. And I think that when you look at the stats you get, this fixed HP and this fixed attack you get for having more avatars, I do really think it becomes worth it to purchase those, as well as the fact that avatar frames now, and I got to see which ones they can do and which ones you can have, but the more avatar frames you have, the more resources you can get. But it's only if they're level 9. And I think there's like the IDA ones and some of the Ace ones and some of the, I don't know, some other ones. Honestly, I apologize for that, but I know it's only if it's +9 that you can get points for them. Up here in the top right corner of any gallery, you can actually click on the rankings here. And something I love is they show you your ranking regardless of what rank you are. So unlike the obelisk of heroes where it only goes to the top 100, this shows you your ranking regardless of where you are. And I think that's pretty dang cool, just the fact that it's out there and you can kind of see where you rank. And as you buy more resonance gear or buy more pay-to-win artifacts, which you can tell I definitely need to start. I have some copies that I can build to Splendid, but I broke them down, so I need to start leveling up there and get some more pay-to-win artifacts built and more Splendids. But I think it's very cool that you can actually see that progress there and see what you're doing and work towards more goals and get more powerful that way. So that's kind of the first mode of the game in that update, and it's pretty simple. But now we're going to jump into the Cloud Island, and the Cloud Island only unlocks once you have a V4 hero, and basically it is a way in which you can use the resources that we've been generating and getting over the last few weeks to buff that V4 hero a ton and make them a lot more powerful. I'll have an example after all this showing how much stronger somebody's Swordflash Zia and some of their Transcendence heroes got by buffing through this method here. But you're going to go in and you're going to put it in V4 hero. And most people, I'm going to recommend that you put a Sword Flash Zia in here. The one exception may be a Scarlet Queen Halora if you think you're close to being able to beat Seal Land 25 Abyss with the heroes you have. Then you might want to put a Scarlet Queen and Halora in here, get her in and get her buffed up and knock out that content, because the first time you put a hero in, it's free. But every time you do it after that, it's 1,000 gems. So it's going to, you could save some gems by putting Scarlet Queen Halora in first, clearing Seal Land 25, and then putting in Sword Flash Zia. But unless you have multiple V4 Ignises, V4 Scarlet Queen Haloras, maybe a V4 wall deck, like, you don't really need to worry about that. Most players is going to be SFX, because SFX is going to be your carry hero for most PvE content. So you can go ahead and you can put SFX in here and you can start building buildings. And right now they're locked. You have to go down to the construction area, click on this home base here, and we're going to go ahead and get all of our buildings. Also of note is you can build decorative buildings on this area as well, which will increase your coziness factor, which will unlock your ability to put more V4 heroes and have more homeowners. But right now we're not going to touch that. We're just going to deal with the tenant situation. And the best way to get to this is by clicking on the home, and it will show you all the different buildings you have. And so you can come in and you can put in tenants. And what is going to happen is you are going to get a option about different heroes you can put in, and the higher level imprint the hero is, the more buff you're going to get. So at a minimum they have to be a 10 star, but I really would not recommend putting 10 star, like just building a 10 star for no reason just to get a tenant bonus for your heroes, because it's percentage based of how strong the tenant is. So a 10 star hero is really not going to be adding much to your team, whereas a V4 V3 hero will be adding a ton to your team. So you can see the difference here. 19,947 attack versus 14,500 attack, right? Our V3 Scarlet Queen Halora is doing more for us. We don't have anything right now that we can put in there, and we have an Asmodel we can put in here, a V4 Asmodel. So we got three of our 4 tenant bases filled up. We probably will never ever get this one filled up, because I don't envision myself building an E5 of either of these heroes anytime soon. And what you're going to want to do is level up bases that have your Transcendence heroes in them, most likely. That's where it's going to make the most sense, because by leveling up, you can see that you're going to buff your homeowner, but you're also going to give bonuses for the tenant as well. So you're able to spread out your resources and buff your Transcendence heroes that are the tenants, as well as buffing your Sword Flash Zia. So I'm just going through, I'm kind of spreading out my resources right now. One thing to be aware of is these HP auras and attack auras. These buff your entire team. It'll buff all 6 heroes on your team with fixed HP or fixed attack. So in one regard, these are kind of like the best, because they affect everybody regardless of if they're a homeowner or a tenant. In another way, they're kind of the worst, because the bonuses they give are not as large. So we haven't quite figured out what the better building is to build yet, or at least I haven't. If somebody else knows, feel free to leave it in the comments below. But I do think it's worth, building some of them and getting some of that resource generation going. But again, I don't really know which buildings are the best right now, so I'm kind of just building all of them. I did run out of toolboxes on my other account before I ran out of resources. Here it looks like we're going to be fine, and we maybe are not going to run out of toolboxes. I will also say that clearing Seal Land content is going to help you a lot as far as getting these bases up. So as you clear Seal Land 21 to 25, you're going to be getting more of these resources and be able to make your Sword Flash Zia stronger. And even though we don't have a tenant here, we can still go ahead and upgrade some of these buildings. But again, those cost toolboxes, so it may not be worth doing it if you are running short of toolboxes. But since I'm out of all my other resources, like here you can see I'm out of toolboxes, and hopefully as content comes out and we do more things, I'll be able to get more toolboxes. But that's kind of where I'm maxed out right now, and you can see how my Sword Flash Zia has changed. And the way to open a second base so you can have a second homeowner is to get the 3000 coziness. You can see I'm at 1650 right now. We don't really know yet if it's better to have 2 bases going at one time or 1. My gut is, for most players, it's going to be just having 1 base and concentrating on making that hero as strong as possible. Another thing to be aware of is that if one of your heroes is a tenant or homeowner, you can't use them again in the other base. So by me having a Scarlet Queen Halora here means I can't put a Scarlet Queen Halora in here unless I have a second one, which I know most of my viewers don't have 2 Scarlet Queen Haloras just sitting around, but I know some of you do. I did want to go ahead and show off how these changes affected my power. So we were at 50.5 million Guild War power, and you can see now we're up to 62.3. I haven't changed anything else, so pretty massive changes there. My CCL lineup I believe was around 19 million, and if we go in and check right now just with some of my heroes, we're at, it wasn't even, that was not even the lineup, we're at 22 million. So pretty big increases there as well. As an example of some of these power spikes, this is what my guildmates Leo Kane and the progress they've made. You can see their old HP and new HP versus their old attack and new attack on their Transcendence heroes, and you can see 48% increased HP on SFX, 29% increased damage, 13% increased damage on 3 of his 5 Transcendence heroes. I mean, these are very, very big gains that are going to help you a lot with future content of this game. And speaking of that future content, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there now with Seal Land. I know I've got to make a ton of Seal Land videos and a ton of attempts on different Seal Land attempts and different things you can do. You want to be trying to push to Vanquisher 6 now. If you're somebody that watches my videos and maybe you were able to clear Valiant, you know, now is the time to start thinking about clearing Defier, because your SFX is going to be so much stronger that it's going to be much easier for you to start working towards clearing Vanquisher, or at least getting the Vanquisher, excuse me. But clearing Vanquisher is still pretty hard, but getting Seal Lands knocked out up to 25, getting up to 101 within the Realmscape. Maybe you were struggling and taking 2 attacks before. Maybe with these changes now you can get higher. And you really need to keep that ball rolling of resource generation and making your hero stronger and staying on top of things. So I know I'm going to be discussing some of the Seal Lands and some of the clears and how we clear them and what's possible in a future video. So make sure you're tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed. I will say that if it's at all possible, you want to try and get at least one of them to 25. And if not, at least get 1 to 21, so that when you smash, you can still get those resources that you care about, like some of these building resources. Okay, so at least get that SFX up, get that Scarlet Queen Halora up, and try to at least clear 21 so that you can smash it and start getting some of these resources every single day and start continuing to grow your heroes and grow your resource collection. Okay, I know that was a ton of information and I started being a little more quiet as I just droned on, but hopefully you found it helpful, and hopefully I made it easier for you to understand so it's not as intimidating, because really this update is not intimidating. It's something that you do once. It's going to make you a lot more strong, make content easier for you, and then you don't have to touch it as much. And that's the kind of update I like. The fact that it lets us customize our bases, I think, is cool. Lets us show off our swag. I think the fact that it's more idle, it's just a really, really good update, and I'm very excited about it, and it is really cool. So let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments below, and I will see you on my next video.